Okay, I'm just looking at this deck of cards to see what magic is due to come into my life next, because right now I seem to be on a plateau. I don't seem to be heading anywhere in particular right now, but I do know I'm coming out of just kind of like pulling my head up out of a 2-year process of inner healing, in isolation, in solitary. I've been very solitary, not lonely, alone, not lonely, because I've been doing deep work on myself. There's been moments in the beginning when, yes, it was lonely, but now I'm feeling that there's reasons why in the beginning it felt so bad. But over these past few months, things have been getting brighter. Now, whether that's because over the past few months summer's arrived, although it is a rainy day today, but I do know, I do have this feeling inside that there is something coming, something else is coming, and I do have this feeling. But I'm impatient and I want to know what it is. So, today, I picked these two cards up after shuffling them, and I got Astral Travels. And Salamander. So, the Astral Travels tells me that whatever it is that's waiting to come in, the first thing I have to do, the magic that I need to do now, is when I go onto the astral plane, then I need to do some work of alchemy, some creative magic for my own life. Because the astral realms, the astral travel card, talks about possible impossibility, freedom, traveller, inner dreams. When we sleep, we leave our bodies, part of us leaves our bodies, and it goes off to another realm, the astral realm, where it deals with things that are in our subconscious mind. These things are our shadows, the things that we have locked in deep down somewhere, so that we can live our lives without having to think about things, basically. But what that ends up doing is we end up running in circles of repeat patterns, and if we don't stop to notice what the patterns are, then we are never gonna be able to make any headway in our lives. We're just going to keep repeating the same old thing over and over and over and over again. So the astral work that needs to be done on the astral plane during sleeping hours, it doesn't have to be at night time. If you sleep during the day, then it's during the day as well. It's just during sleep, because that's the easiest way that most of us can and do scoot off to the astral plane. So there is a possibility of the next thing coming. The thing is to get the freedom to go for that new thing, to actually stand in the essence of that new thing. We need to look at what we want to happen. what we don't want to happen. And because we're going to the astral to do this work, we need to go doing it's the creative work of alchemy. Now, if we look at the salamander card, we've got Orbis, creative work, infinite wisdom, and alchemy. And basically, alchemy is a creative work, and it's using infinite wisdom because you're in the astral. You've not got the ties to the physical 3D world. You're in the astral. You've got no ties, no encumbrances to hold you back. So you can go in to your subconscious mind to do your alchemy, which is your deep inner work on your shadows, your shadow self, which lives within. And basically you're doing this so that you can heal, bring the fire of growth and spirit into your subconscious mind and wake it up. Find those things in that dark place. Find those things in that dark place. Connect with them and basically transmute them, which is what alchemy is. It's transmuting the heavier, denser things in life to a much lighter, lightweight, lighter feeling, happier note thing that we want in our life. So before we do that, we have to, on the astral level, be prepared. And don't forget, we all go, every single one of us go there, if we're prepared to look at what needs to be looked at within ourselves. No judgment, no blame, no shame, just complete accepting. Just completely accept who you are, the mistakes you make. And it's kind of like all these things, which might just be little things that you've latched onto from somewhere or other. Somebody's laughed at you or poked a finger at you or shouted at you or insulted you or even your gifts and talents have been shoved down in the subconscious mind. Why? Because people who have heard you have possibly insulted, ridiculed, put you down for it. I mean, when I started learning to play the guitar, I was so embarrassed because I couldn't do it. And it took me ages and ages. But eventually I was able to play one song, and that was an Elvis number, Love Me Tender. And I was able to play that. And then something made me give up, which is generally what happens, because in my world there wasn't any encouragement to be better. I'm not going to go into any of those details, but in my world there really wasn't the encouragement to be any better, to improve on anything. There was no congratulations when you did it, when you succeeded. There was just insult or ignorance, ignoring your achievements. So therefore, during my life, I got to a point where I wanted to learn. I always, from being knee-high to a grasshopper, loved to learn new things. But because of the ridicule in the beginning stages, and let's face it, when we're learning something new, we've got to get it into our neurological system in the brain before we can even start to get anywhere near recognisable to a song. We've got to learn all that needs to be learned, and we can only do that by keep on repeating what we're doing. Well, with the insults and the ridicule, you think, oh God, I'm not good enough for this. I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to tell anybody what I can do. They'll just laugh. And that was what I did with that. And I never played the guitar ever again, even though I succeeded in learning one song. I've never played it since. I've tried other instruments, but the embarrassment is still there. And on the astral plane, all those musical skills will be there that I haven't accessed for decades, for the simple reason that I was so heavily laughed at as a kid, and it made me believe that I had to keep it hidden. There's a lot of other stuff as well, but I'm not going to go into all of that because there's no point. Because what astral projection and the salamander are teaching us is that no matter what the problem was, then, the problem is now in the subconscious mind, and it's hidden away, locked in a cupboard somewhere in the caverns of the subconscious mind. Because every time we abandon a piece or something that a desire, a dream, every time we abandon that, we lose that part of ourselves. We lock that part of ourselves away, like Rapunzel in the tower. We lock it away. We lock her up a bit more each time. And then when those people that did that, whether it was bullies at school, at work, parents, teachers, anyone, as soon as we start believing them, we start destroying ourselves. And then, if we're lucky, we get the chance to look deep inside at what's there, at what's inside, both the shadows of the fear and the things we do, the things that trigger us, and the memories of how we react during a trigger. And it's all there in the subconscious mind, along with all the skills and the dreams that, for one reason or another, people have put you off actually following. And we're being told to go into the subconscious mind when we sleep, when we travel to the astral. Allow these dreams to come forward. Allow these experiences to come forward. Now, for me, I often dream of being abused, because that's like something that was quite frequent throughout my whole life. And I I often dream of that, but it's like, for one thing, one drawer in my subconscious mind meant that I dealt with this big huge house on the top of a high mountain that no one ever went to, and it was like a mansion house, a huge thing, but it was all decayed with spiders everywhere, and even every room had a dead body in it, literally a dead body, a decomposed or decomposing dead body in each room. And I was stuck in this house, and then I discovered that there was like a banshee in this house, and I couldn't defend myself. I didn't know what to do to defend myself. This dream became a repetitive dream, and we know it's an important message, an important lesson when it becomes repetitive, and we need to look at it more so when it's repetitive, because it's telling us something. And this is what these cards are saying. We need to go into these dreams. Now eventually, after night after night after night of having these dreams, I one time realised what I had to do, but my mouth had been sewn up and I couldn't speak. So I couldn't speak up for myself. And eventually, because I knew what I had to do, I was able to say it in my head. Although I couldn't open my mouth to say it, but with intention, I could throw it out of my head. And I realised that I was having some success with this method. So what I did then, eventually, I was able to open my mouth, but first I had to pull all this stuff out of my mouth to free my mouth up, to free my voice out. And then when I went into this mansion, as I did every time I went to sleep, night after night after night, that's why I knew it was important. It was important to look at what was going on. It was important to go with it. That's exactly what these cards are saying. It's important to go with it. Sorry, my hay fever's driving me absolutely crazy. Eventually, I have to keep going in, because this dream would not stop. It would not go away. I had to go into this dream and deal with this issue of opening my mouth and speaking up to stop abuse. Okay? The abuse of this screeching banshee who was attacking me every time I went in. Every time I opened the door, it was attacking me, shouting, "Get out, you're not wanted." And I knew what I had to say. And eventually, after I'd pulled out all this stuff, and there was like dreams and dreams of me knowing that I had to get this stuff out of my mouth so that my lips would open and I could speak. And eventually I did that. So I used the words that I'd been screaming out in my head to keep them away, you know, in an attempt to keep these spirits, these dark beings away. But funnily enough, every time I even thought of those words, during my dreamscape, my astral land, the spirits there became less and less abusive. They became, I could feel the change happening. And as this was happening, the rooms in the big mansion house started to clean up and decorate themselves. The bodies were no longer in every room. All of the spiders that were just crawling and the bugs crawling out of the walls, they started to go away, and there was less and less and less of them. And eventually, after I'd taken all this stuff out of my mouth that took me for ages of dreaming this every night going to this same place, after I'd taken this stuff out of my mouth and I could speak those words to this banshee, everything changed, and she changed into a loving, beautiful person and became my best friend and my best ally. And from there on in, I mean, I don't go to that house very often at the moment, but I have been to other places where I've also had to deal with experiences on the astral that have been helping me to dig deep into my my shadow self, to do the work of soul alchemy, of healing, which is what that house experience on the astral plane was. That was me doing that alchemy work. That's why I call myself the alchemist, because my whole life has been about that. I also seem to catalyse other people into looking at their inner demons as well. Not in a scary way, but in, not in a scary way, but in a way that helps them to awaken and connect with their wounded self. Now, most of my life now, at this stage of it, is based around helping other people to understand their inner worlds, because that's the only way you can even begin to start to understand the outer world. And I'm on my journey, and I've still got problems that I'm trying to deal with. I'm still going to the astral, not intentionally, it just automatically happens. But I know when I'm dealing with something because it's repeated. And then I look into myself and using the cards, I do use the cards to do it, as to why this dream is happening. And basically, what I want to do is encourage everybody to be aware of the dreams, because the time we're in now, this is a massive, massive, massive time of shift, a massive time of healing, because ideas are being changed, the whole system is being changed. So I encourage everybody to look deeper within themselves, to look deeper at any nightmares that are repeated over and over and over again, or even just dreamscapes. If you're constantly dreaming of going and sitting on a wall next to a river, and you just do that night after night after night, there's a reason for that. It wouldn't be so repetitive if it wasn't trying to tell you something. So I encourage you all to look within yourself. Use cards if you have to. Go to readers, go to psychics, but anything. Sign up with a counsellor if you need to. There are dream experts out there that will guide you through what you need to know, how to find things out. So I'm going to stop there because I'm coming up to 25 minutes. I didn't intend this to be for everyone, but it was just something for me, hence I'm not properly dressed and makeup and hair done. I'm just as I come during the day on a hot summer's day in the house. So flab and everything. So, uh, so yeah, I encourage everybody to look at what your dreams are telling you, because there's a wealth of information in there. Do that alchemy work. Don't be frightened of your dreams. Mostly when we get these dreams, we're frightened of something in our world. It's hard to figure out what that is because there's so much locked away in here. But your dreams go the abstract way of dealing with it and clearing it all out. So please go with your dreams. Use a journal, have it by your bed with a pen. Write it down if you have to. You'll know the difference between just any old dream that you might have and a dream that means something, because a dream that means something, one, it will repeat constantly, probably every single night until you've learned what it is, what it's about. And eventually what will happen is the things in that dream, how you react to that dream, will tell you what you're frightened of, and it will put you in, turn you around to a position where, if you stick with it, where you can find the way to heal this, to heal it in your dream, which leads to healing it in your life. 2, a dream that you have that might only be a one-off, but by God, you can remember it for years. You remember every detail as if you dream it every night, but you're not dreaming it every night. You just remember it because it meant something. It's an important dream. It's one for you to focus on, and another one for looking into, because that dream is telling you something, if you will but listen to what it's telling you. And it, you know, that one you will know because you remember it for years in the future, and it's so clear, it doesn't go away, it doesn't change. You remember every detail of it. So I'm gonna knock off now because it's coming up to half an hour. Like I said, I didn't intend this to go out to anybody public, because basically no makeup, hair just shoved back in pigtails, bikini top, you know, just not ready for public appearances. So, but I feel it's important to share, because I do want to encourage you all to go into your dreams more fully, find out what they're telling you. It's the only way, really. If you can't deal with it during the day, in your waking life, there's a reason why those dreams come. They're not just nightmares. They're teaching you something. And my nose is driving me crazy because it's so itchy. So itchy with hay fever. I can't stand it. I can barely stand it. Okay, so again, the cards, just before I finish. And the deck itself, and thank you. Please, if you have enjoyed this, if you have enjoyed this sitting today, then please like, subscribe and share if you can. It helps the algorithms. YouTube's gone funny a while back and it relies on algorithms. So if you like it, please click like so that they actually know I'm here.